sure, okay. To tonight, quite a season for our Plymouth Pilgrims, was in its 22-4 and second in Class 3A. But tonight, we have a lot of honors that we're going to be getting to, so we want to get the festivities going for the hello or what's up. But the last 2 weeks, it's just been a little hectic, just a little bit.
The close to this program, this team, Rich Skiles.
Every time I watch him coach. Ladies and gentlemen, your Hall of Fame head coach of the Plymouth Pilgrims, Mr. Jack Edison. I got a speech ready for about 50 to 75 people. This looks like more than that. I've been rewriting back here to try to make it more for like 1,000 or whatever we got here. But what a tribute to these young men. I really didn't know what to expect, and I don't think anybody did, but I think this speaks volumes. I think you saw, I didn't see it, but I've heard about it, the big semi down there at the state. And I don't know if you know this or not, but what they do with that is they, after they win, pretty consistently, but after they win, they've got these big speakers on that thing, and it just blares all over the town. And they claim that those speakers will almost reach all sides of Indianapolis. Kind of a deep way for them to celebrate and honor their team. I got news for you. We got about 20 semis worth right here. And our players are going to come out here and talk a little bit. And maybe they can kind of express to you what they feel. It'll be tough for them. They just, I don't know, something wrong with them somehow. I think some of you parents and community put that in, and they're just not real fond of second place. And I think you can kind of tell by the way they compete that that's just not their favorite place to be. So they're going to be, you know, they're like you, they're hurting, and but we asked them to do it, but only, you know, maybe one or two or whatever. And they all, like about an hour ago, afraid they would leave town, as we told them yesterday. But it's a real uncomfortable thing for them. They kind of hate Mikkel right now because he's too good at this. He's okay with the TV. He does too good. That's not fair. But for the rest of us, I think you're going to at least tell our hearts. And so they'll give it a pretty good go at it anyway. So many letters, like Troy said, so many letters and things, and for you people that have sent those and have thought those and haven't sent them, we appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I guess I'm saying that just so that it takes me a while. I don't get back to you. Wow, it's really uplifting. One I got from Kent Adams, and the one reason I'm kind of picking this one out is it says something about these guys right here. Kent Adams was the is the coach of Twin Lakes, good friend, played for Bremen, and knows our kids well, knows our community well. And he said when I was asked, this was part of it, when I was asked how, he said he was asked how he thinks our players and people on the team is responding and handling this situation. He says, just fine. He says that there's not many people who could handle a situation that way. But he said they're going through a lot of hurt. Sure, it's a test of character, but these guys have never finished second in that test. Just about says it all, but yeah, it gets me through it. Just these guys here, I know they've inspired you, but they've inspired me too. More ways than basketball, I'll tell you that. Last thing is I got a call from, I think I can tell you that here. I got a call from a guy named Tom Boyd. He's a Washington fan. Got a call, that was yesterday afternoon, and he called to compliment the team, called to compliment you fans. He said after the game, he says it was incredible. He said we're cheering like the Dickens, and he said Plymouth fans were congratulating us as we're walking out. He said I was just so impressed with the way the team handled such a difficult situation. So impressed the way the fans handled a difficult situation, just how complimentary they were toward us and all. He said, I go outside, he said, somebody asked me, he said, why isn't that truck, the big semi, why isn't that thing blaring? You see, Tom owns that truck. Tom said, not going to be any music tonight. He says, I got too much respect for this team and the fans. We'll start with our senior, Ryan McKell. Just looking at his numbers this year, this young man, quite an accomplishment. He finished his career as a Pilgrim with 134 career points, ended up with 22 field goals on the year, shot 67% from the line, and boy, just a tremendous season all the way around. Ladies and gentlemen, our senior, Ryan McKell.
After playing basketball here for the last 3 years, I've come to realize that the fans here have great anticipation and excitement for the season, and that it's rivaled by no one else. Whether it's a win or a loss, there's always fans in the stands and always community support that helps us get by. This season was a special one, as we all know, and support from the community, the school, and all the fans made it more enjoyable. As we made our run late in the tournament and on the stage, as we left to Indy, we went through our own parade downtown with tons of fans on the side of the road and businesses who had changed their signs to say "Go Big Red" and "Go Pilgrims." On behalf of my teammates and me, I would personally like to thank all of you, the fans, the community, the students, and the school, for all of your support. Thank you.
He's another senior, finished his career with 78 points total. It's not what he did number-wise on the floor, it's what he did away with the basketball that got us to the state finals. Ladies and gentlemen, our 6'2 senior, Matt Huyen.
Well, I don't have the speaking skills like Kel has. We'd like to give thanks to our parents who have supported us as we have grown up and still have supported us today. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be where we are right now. And everybody on this team is either 2 or 3 sport athletes, so our parents are very involved outside of basketball. And we'd like to thank our parents because they were kind enough to provide the team managers and coaches with sack lunches on the bus ride home from away games. And they also took turns at hosting a team dinner every week before a game. And that took a lot of work out of them. And this is because they had to feed 13 players plus about 4 or 5 coaches for each team dinner. So it was a lot of work for them. And they also have supported us through our summer ball by taking us to different tournaments all over northern Indiana and cheering us on. And on behalf of the team, we would all like to thank you for your support.
Our next senior finishes up with 388 career points, 61 field goals, 28 from outside. He shot 74% from the floor. And in the postseason, he played like a senior. Matter of fact, both seasons he played like a senior. Ladies and gentlemen, KP Outlaw.
I'd like to thank the people that got us through this summer and especially my teammates because they were there the whole time. We played over 40 games this summer going through summer AYPT tournaments and playing in the South End Summer League. Mr. Greenlee, we'd like to give a special thanks for him because he organized all our tournaments and allowed us to play the best teams there. We'd also like to thank Mr. Sheets and my dad for putting up with us this summer and coaching us. I know that had to be tough. And then I'd like to personally thank Coach Edison because I know he doesn't take any credit for what we've achieved, but he's the main reason we got to this point. So thank you.
Our next senior, 593 career points as a Pilgrim in his tenure here. 110 field goals this season, 98 of them from outside the yard. I can even tell you how many times I've ended up saying, "Got it! Jeff Sheets!" All right, I gotta get my notes up. When I just kind of look back on this team, there's really one thing that stands out to me. I think it's really special. Like, the only team I've been on like this, just all 13 of us were just so close. And I think that was one of the big reasons that we made it so far. As Plum said, all those games we played in the summer, I think that really carried over into the season. That's just being so close and playing all those games together. As he said, we played over 40 games together this summer. And you have the media come in and talk to you since we're on our way to state. They're just saying stuff like, "Oh, you guys play team basketball and you guys must be so close because you don't have a starter, it's tall," and stuff like that. But they really don't get the effect of how close we are together as a team. I mean, on and off the court. When you're going through 2.5-hour practices after a long school day, or you're going through 3-hour Christmas break practices, you just really gel as a team. And all 13 of us were just like brothers, pretty much. And we did this thing, we started about 2 or 3 games in the season. You might have saw us like during dead balls, get in the huddle. That just wasn't for show, like some of the college teams do. It wasn't for reps or something like that. We were really getting in there and just saying things, specific things that we thought we needed to say that could help us get what we needed to get done.
and I think that really helped me because I just remember back to the Wallace C game, that triple overtime game at their place. Kowchek just hit a shot and got fouled, and this is in the second overtime, and we get in the huddle, and no one's really saying anything, so we're down 5, I think, and Plum just gets in there, and Kyle's usually not one for words, but he just walked in there and said, "We're not going to lose," and then he just walked out of the huddle. And that got me a little fired up. But our unity as a team is more off the court too, not just on the court. After practices, we have team dinners and so, but like during the postseason, we go to the truck stop and get some dinners as a team, and we like to go out to Mr. and Mrs. Renz's and get our ping pong game on, so that was always fun. And if I could probably just sum up this team, it's probably just what we say in our huddle. Instead of the usual defense, team, or whatever, before we run out, we say family. And I really believe that at the end of the season, we were 13 individuals, and by the end of the season, we were 13 brothers. I just want to thank two people that aren't really my family, but they're kind of like a second family to me. I'd like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Benj for all the things they've done for me the last 10 years. I want to thank Mr. Benj for opening up the gym all those Sunday nights and me and Kyle come and shoot. All those Rise AAU practice in the Red Caravan where we listened to that infamous U2 CD. Or no, it wasn't a CD, was it? It was a cassette. Yeah, and all the other things you've done for me. I really appreciate you guys taking me part of your family.
I've been at this radio stuff now for 20 years in sports for 18, and I've had the opportunity to witness some really good ball players and watch them develop. And boy, it was sure fun to watch this young man. He got in as a freshman, learned a lot about the game. It's not easy going in as a freshman learning Coach Ennis's defense. We all know that. That's why it's good. And yet, he managed to do it and do it very well every year. He finishes up with 1,979 career points. He's become Plymouth's new all-time leading scorer. 697 points this season alone, averaging 27 a game. He had 250 field goals, 84 of them from outside. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. It's Kyle Becker.
Thank you very much. I first want to talk about our trainers, Katie Monkley and Nate Danielson. They really put up with the boys basketball team a lot this year. They were in there at our 6:15 practices. I know they didn't want to be, but they were. They put up with us after school, taping, doing whatever, and especially Kristen Dybel. I know for the last 2 years she's had to put up with me, which has probably been enough with some of the injuries I've had, so I just want to say thank you to them. I'm supposed to say a little bit about our assistant coaches, but when trying to come up with something to say about them, I really can't put it into words. I mean, they're probably the hardest working group of assistant coaches you're going to find in the state. We're 22-4 this year, and that was probably the main reason because they're in there on Sunday nights till 10 o'clock going over films over all the NLC teams and all the county teams, just trying to get us the most prepared we could for all the teams that we played, and just like to thank them and Coach Scott, he probably is the hardest working assistant coach in the state, and I'm going to miss him. And I'm going to remember all the group hugs that we had during our big wins. Started after the Wawasee triple overtime game and ended at semi-state against Wawasee. And Coach Michael Edison, Coach Grindle, and Coach Dell. There's a lot that you can say about him, but you think we can put a group of 3 kids and play some New York 21 and think we're good, but when Coach Edison wanted to set a point, he just said, hey, you 3 go yellow. And it wasn't very much fun because with Coach Grindle down low, hitting 15-footers over me and Sheets, then running back down saying, ooh, just like 1998. It's kind of hard to stop. Coach Michael Edison, he's got some long arms, he's quick. I'm kind of glad I am graduating so I can go on, so he doesn't have to guard me very much next year. And Coach Dell, no offense, but it's kind of hard to move you down low. And I know I was only supposed to talk about the assistant coaches, but I just got to thank Mr. Edison. I mean, it's just been great 4 years playing for a Hall of Fame coach. I'm going to miss him. I know wherever I go, I'm probably not going to find a coach half as good as what he's been to me. And I'm just going to miss all the players that I played with. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, nice round of applause for our seniors. Again, they had their signs with their name and their number on it. You know,
thank you, Tony. I was asked by Roy to speak a little today as a former player for Coach Edison. And here I am, 46 years old, and I'm calling him Coach, but it kind of got ingrained in me back in those days. And, you know, he was always Coach. And then, of course, we'd go out in the parking lot and he was Jack. But, you know, we kind of slid over something that's really important to me. And last Wednesday, I was fortunate enough to be down in Indianapolis, along with us, the assistant coaches and Mike Delp, and we got to witness Jack getting inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. It was an awful special thing, and for those who couldn't make it, I just got to tell you, there was probably 15 inductees, and our coach, Jack Edison, had the most eloquent speech of any of the inductees. He did a wonderful job, and he's truly deserving of this. I wondered why I got chosen, because we have another player that, as a parent who used to play, Dave Falstich, was a teammate of mine. We played on Jack's second and third team back in 1975 and in 1976. And, you know, I started thinking about the 499 wins and all that stuff. And, you know, Dave and I got talking. We said, you know, he wouldn't have 499 wins if it weren't for guys like Dave and me. He'd probably have about 505 or 510. But I appreciate everything Jack has done for me over the years. He's like a second dad to me, and I know these kids, as they grow older, will feel the same way. And we really do have a Hall of Fame coach here in more ways than one. That was the easy part. The hard part's the parent, because we all have our emotions, but this last few days, I've been scanning the internet, I've been reading papers, I've been trying to find some kind of therapy, something to get me through all this, why and all that stuff. And, I feel pretty good about things. I feel, we went down there, and I don't know how the fans felt as a parent, being pretty close to all these kids. I mean, they practically eat me out of house and home. I didn't expect us to go down there and show up. I expected us to go down there and compete. I expected us to go down there and win. So, number one or not, I felt totally comfortable that we were going to beat those guys, and these guys more or less did in my book. But what I've been reading, and the stuff I've been reading, everybody, how proud you are of them, how much your kids hustle, and this isn't just from Plymouth people. What kind of heart these guys have, how they're champions, how they're competitors, how they have a lot of class, how they have a lot of courage. They sure do. How they're leaders, and their character. And when I think about all this, and I don't feel worthy to speak for all the other parents. I know they're all proud of their kid. I know they're all proud of all 13 of these kids. But when I think it through, throw away the scoreboard. Who really won last Saturday? Thank you.
I just have no direction at all. I look and there's a piece of paper over on my wall, just stuck with, I don't know what it's stuck with, a piece of tape or whatever. And it's John Wooden, and John Wooden said that things turn out the best in the people who make the best of the way things turn out. And this team's going to have to do that. They're going to have to let go of that shot, and the parents are going to have to let go of the shot. Gosh, I got to let go of that shot. And I know we can do that, we can move on. I sit there and on my desk there's a picture of Rick Pitino with somebody when they were 11 years old. It says success is really a choice, and it's dependent on effort. And we can all believe that. We all can think that we put forth an effort. I walk through this gym and I hear coaches some rare moments in a real raw personality that he has, and he'll say often that, gosh guys, it's great, he calls them boys. He'll say that it's great you're putting forth an effort, but what kind of effort is effort without results? And I think that this team gave him those results and gave Plymouth those results, and they did pay a price for success, and it was a collective price for success, and I think it's an example for other teams, and I know they can do that. Almost lastly, personally, I want to thank Coach Edison. Last spring, he cleaned out his office. And if you know Coach and you know us, I'm glad he cleaned out his office, because it's like a lot of our stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there that needed to be cleaned out. But I want to thank him personally for letting him fill up the junk again this year. And I just want to thank you for hanging with this team like you did. We were 13-10 4 years ago. We barely got through our sectional, and that was a good thing. We went 7-14. That was a rough year. These 5 guys were sophomores, and I don't think we had a celebration like this at the end of the season. They went 16-7 last year and made some strides. I know some people on the team made a personal commitment, and that's kind of obvious. But to go 22-4 after all that is just something that you just, as a parent, as an AD, as a person in the community, I think most people have to be pretty thrilled with. Lastly, I know that the harder you fall, the higher you can bounce. And I think we have some things that, in the Plymouth system to be positive about. Our 6th grade went 20-0 this year. Coach Grindle played double duty. He coached at the junior high and he coached here. They were finished 20-0. Our 7th grade, Coach Keister, they finished 20-8. Our 8th grade finished A and B team combined with Coach England and Ted Hayden. They finished 29-4. Our freshman with Coach Eisenbarger finished 17-3. Our JV this year with Coach Clotho finished 18-2. You throw in the varsity record at 22-4, that's 126. And 21, that's an 85% percentage winning rate. I think most schools in the state would take that, so I think we'll bounce back this fine.
As is my tradition, I'll kind of go through quickly these guys, starting with our freshman Randy, who I think some of you got a little feel for the competitor he is, the tough, hard-nosed player he is. Let me tell you some more facts on this boy. Monday morning after the state final, what are we talking, 36 hours later, this guy's got to show up for phys ed class for bowling. He's in my phys ed class. His score on the second game bowling dipped a couple points. I was pretty disappointed. All this competitive, tough-minded, and that sort of thing went down about 2 points. Other than that, I think I'll say the same thing about him that I said about Kyle Bench when he was a freshman. He may be a keeper. Byron, tough year, a real tough year. He practiced with us last year, just didn't work out like maybe he wanted, but definitely like he wanted or like we wanted. It's one of those situations where you're bigger in junior high, you play a lot. And this year we just had other kids that, fortunate for us, that kind of moved in and moved him down a ways in playing time. I thought it was pretty neat when he came up. I don't know, somewhere after the halfway mark or whatever, past in the season, and wanted to play JV ball. And I would never ask a kid to do that once he's on the varsity, but you know, to have, I don't know, humility, humbleness, or whatever it would be, to ask to do that, I thought was pretty neat and said a lot. It's really neat having a post player that can shoot like he can, especially from the 3-point line. Because I think some of you look like you've got that habit or the mentality of kind of looking for that now, so we got to try to get something going here in the future. As it looks, as I look back here at the non-standing guys, is some of our 3-point shooters. Byron's a great kid, just one of the nicest kids in school. Chad, here's a statistic on Chad. 83% from 3-point. The last 9 games. Okay, he was below that before that time, but now that may sound impressive. That's 5 out of 6, but that's something. Because we're talking tournament time, a lot of that. And you take one of those threes away here, or one of those threes away there, and you may take us away as well, but those are kind of pressure shots. But if he could continue that for next year, is that some national record or something? Anyway. I can't ever remember taking Chad out of the game. That may have happened, but I don't remember taking him out of the game because of something he was doing wrong. Something that we got to take him out because he's not doing this well enough. Took him out because these guys are rested right now, and I'm putting them back in pretty much. The seniors, it's just a role this year where our seniors, we kind of wanted them on the floor as much as we could, shooting wise and so on. Quite a leader and quite a competitor that I think you're going to see more and more of, well, in all sports. Jason, he's a smart player, got a lot of savvy, just one of those kids that knows the game and is able to not only know it, but execute it as well. Great passer, does the little things that sometimes go unnoticed, and just a very competitive player as well. Our juniors, 3 of them, Corey, I saw him on the JV last year at Elkhart Memorial. And in about, 15 seconds on one play, he's diving on the floor 3 times. Sometimes I exaggerate, but it was 3. Sometimes I can't count, but I'm just sure it was 3. And it was purposeful. There's those kind where you're trying to please the crowd, but these were purposeful. I knew then he's our kind of player. He talks a lot on defense. He's totally into it. And he's just a big spark off the bench. And some of you may remember our sectional game where he turned it around big time, just making big plays. Nobody on our team was too surprised with that. Well, I did, yes, but not surprised. I see the practice doing that kind of thing all the time. Not unusual to carry over in the game. Rick, just a tough defender. Probably showed up. Maybe the best example would be in the semi-state. He's guarding a guy who's, whatever he is, 230 pounds, Kauchek, who's, I think, got 27 points on us, maybe the first time we played him. And he didn't get 27 that game. He just balanced him out a little bit. Battler, he's a fierce competitor. Gosh, am I saying that about a lot of these guys? Yes. He covers a lot of territory in there. He may be under the basket on one side, the rebound goes the other way, and all of a sudden there he is. He's got a hand on it or something. He can just get to places, and that's kind of a nice credit maybe to his quickness and ability and so on, but probably more to his desire. I would say, this is quite a statement, because we've had some people improve quite a bit. He's our most improved from last year this time until now. He's our most improved player in a lot of ways. Mark Adams had a real tough beginning of the year. Probably really, it was pretty close to Christmas before his broken leg was, even though he was practicing on it, I don't know what percent he was able to go. But it was probably pretty close to Christmas until he was really able to function somewhat adequately on it. But I knew with Mark, without seeing him even practice, I knew with him, a couple of years ago when we had open gyms. Now, you won't understand this yet, a couple of you will. He played like an old-timer. Okay? Not physically, but mentally and verbally. He'd be back on defense and he's talking and pointing. You don't do that stuff in open gym, man. You just kind of run back and try to score when it's your time. He's playing defense in open gym. That's kind of a taboo, but he was doing that. Shouting and just like he didn't want to lose. I like that. And he annoys you, a guy like that. And playing time was limited for Mark, but the things that he did that I'm talking about right there are just kind of invaluable to us. Let's give these guys a hand. Things are kind of, maybe a little bit on a high right now, but I think Roy mentioned it at a couple nights, last Thursday night, Roy mentioned it, that 2 years ago, we kind of had a sense of urgency. We're win 7 games, and all these seniors were on the varsity that year as sophomores. At this time of the year, and we've had plenty of time, we probably had about 3 weeks in of workout. We are coming in the morning. Didn't last real long. They kind of had to go on their own because it wasn't a real popular thing with the spring sports. But they're coming in the morning for about an hour, I think. I think it was 6:30. Might have been a little earlier than that. And working out. And I can remember Jeff Sheets. We're kind of talking about shots and that sort of thing, and shooting. Oh, shots, Jeff, about it. Trying to learn some things, and I am, and kind of figuring out, does he go better to his left, his right, just a few details like that, and he is really into it. He's really interested. Now, this is a kid who's a shooter. Okay, I'm going to tell you, he couldn't even shoot a lick before we got a hold of him, but you probably know that. You watched him in junior high. I remember a Warsaw game in junior high where, I don't know how many he had, 6, 7, 3, something like that, something kind of like playing Warsaw. And especially at the end of the game, it looked like he hit 3 or 4 right at the end of the game. But he was eager to know more, eager to learn. And I thought, that's pretty neat. He was analyzing things and all, and that's neat. That's one thing. Analytical, research, that's good. Putting it into practice and doing something about it is another thing yet. That's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. Better have some desire to improve. And I really didn't know that much about Jeff back at that time, that side of him. But boy, did he improve over the next year, especially 2 years, but just over that next year. 2 areas I thought, difficult areas. One is he developed, just in this last summer especially, he developed a mid-range jump shot, like you're dribbling a couple and it just goes up quick. You say, does he have that? He has used that a few times. Why hasn't he used it more? Because he could have, but this team did not dictate that type of a shot. This team, when you got a Kyle Plumley and a Kyle Benj, I'm not, Mr. Delp up here, the math person or anything like that, but I think I have figured out, along with Jeff, that 3 adds up a heck of a lot quicker than 2. Why you be trying to create a shot when you got these 2 guys who can get you to that spot? So he just kind of went with the things we had in our offense. At times would use that shot, and I don't think anybody had any idea how good a shooter he is in so many other areas. It wasn't something that lent itself so much to this type of team, and he just did what our strengths were. The other area that I think all of you know is his quick release. Maybe you think that's just, he's born with that. No, he didn't have that quick release. You have to develop that. And you can be a pretty good shooter, and a lot of people are good shooters. You're just kind of standing shooting, nobody's around you. But when people are flying at you, how good a shooter are you then? And you better be able to get it off. That is tough. That is tough. Very few guys, we've had 2 of them, have had a quick release this year. Like that. That's accurate. I shouldn't say, yeah, that's accurate. That's still, you don't lose your, you don't lower your percentage with the increase in the quickness. But just the time that he spent and the attention to detail was remarkable. So what's the big deal? How does that affect us? Let me tell you how it affected us this year. Just his shooting alone, how it affected us. Teams didn't zone us. We're kind of getting ready for this team to zone us. They're a zone team. That's their best defense. They didn't zone us. Maybe 3 times down the floor or 2. And then they're back out of it again. And that was Jeff. They did not, it was difficult for them to half-court trap us. Maybe a few times, but if you just make a couple passes and there's Jeff on one side, maybe Kyle in the perimeter guys, Jeff's on one side, couple passes, hit a 3 or 2, and all of a sudden they're not half-court trapping and getting steals out of that. Really balanced out. Got quick shots, early in the offense, high percentage shots that he gave us. Seldom saw a box and one, where the box, they played 4 guys on defense, kind of a zone, and then 1 guy chasing Kyle Bench around. Saw maybe a little bit a couple times. I think St. Joe even tried a triangle and 2 guys on them. Forgetting we had still Kyle Plumley out there shooting. And I think Jeff has really helped Kyle Bench's scoring out with being able to balance that attack out, which I'm sure Jeff wants some of the credit for the 29,000 points that Kyle scored. And, on the other hand, when you get 4 players and 2 managers guarding Kyle Bench, that kind of opens some things up for some other people, especially when you're an unselfish player like Kyle Bench is. So it kind of evened out maybe a little bit that way. Jeff can make you look like a good coach. You come down the floor, 1 pass, shoot and score, you look good as a coach. 8 passes, run this tremendous, complicated offense. You miss it at the end. What's wrong? Jeff hits a 3, great offense. Fast break, come down, kick it to the corner, great fast break offense when that thing goes in. Down by 5, start the 4th quarter, 3 possessions, and you're up by 4. 3 threes, have to get a couple stops, turnovers, something like that. You can look good when you got a guy out there that can shoot them like that. But I really didn't know how much Jeff was going to play this year. You say, you got to be kidding me. Defense wins. That's a cliche. Some coaches are stupid enough to kind of really believe it too. And defense and rebounding. And I just didn't know. I didn't know if his shooting could compensate for that. That's probably, I asked Michael about that too, my son. I said, what would you think when you think of Jeff? His improvement in defense from last year to this year. I thought he improved it last year, but the way he went up defensively. Usually the point guard this year, quarterback of the team. Person that just makes the team go. And pretty key defensive position. His improvement in that area may have been a significant factor for him as his shooting was for us. And you can just give me a blank look on that one, and that's fine, because I don't expect you to understand that one. And I think his shooting ability sometimes overshadows what a good passer he is in some of the other areas, his floor savvy, and we saw some little instances of that, and the way he can kick the ball. He's an academic All-State this year. Very tough. It's been a long time since we have anybody academic All-State. And when you look at some of our other players who are in the top 6 of their class, a couple of them, it's quite an achievement to be an academic All-State. Neat part for us in basketball is it was demonstrated on the floor as well. Just kind of knew all the plays, everybody's position. Mind's always thinking, it's always in the game. Dead balls, he's kind of the first one looking over to the side. What are we doing next? Making his suggestion of what we should do next. It took me a long time to figure out. His suggestions always ended up with him taking a shot. But it was okay. I trusted his judgment because he always hit them. I got this little 5-year-old granddaughter, and another one, who, she's old enough now. She's 5. She's old enough for me to kind of get involved and watch the guys you hang around with. In spite of that, she gravitates towards Jeff. And just the last couple of weeks, we've kind of done some things, and how could you not? My wife said, I guess it was after the week before the state tournament, towards the end of that week, she says, boy, Jeff is just really great with kids. And I said, yeah, I got him. I had him in sociology where he worked with some kids. I got him as a cadet teacher where he is working with kids right now, and he's been in a couple different places. And I got some stuff on him. Right here, over the internet, email. This is from Jeff Hunter, who is a great basketball player in the past at Rochester. He teaches 5th grade. Jeff's worked with special needs kids at Jefferson. He's over there at just at Menominee now in the 5th grade. Jeff is I'll just summarize this. Jeff is dedicated and just delightful to be around. His great attitude rubs off on the students. In a quiet way, he's just a wonderful role model. Humble, appreciative. Both Mrs. Denny and myself can only hope that our sons turn out as great as Jeff. And I couldn't be happier that my little granddaughter gravitates towards this guy. Jeff Sheets. Three years ago at this time, walking by the old gym out here and looking in, it's about 4 in the afternoon, something like that, and 2 guys are playing one-on-one. It's players, whether it's past players or whatever, they probably even remember it, I don't know. But it's Matt Huyen and Kyle Plumley going one-on-one. And so I'm watching a little bit, and just like them, they're asking questions. They stop for a little bit and ask me a question, you know. And it was a defensive question. Some of you guys take note of that. They're asking defensive questions. And the question was, each of them was getting around the other one. Okay, and it was fairly easy to score. Too easy to score. You know, how do you stop people one-on-one? Well, I didn't tell them this, but I thought, well, if he wouldn't be so explosive and so great offensively, it'd be a lot easier. They might not have bought into that one, so I just told them, you just kind of have to develop it, kind of have to learn it. And I think that's probably as ambiguous as I was, too. And then to see where they're 2 outstanding defensive players a few years later is pretty neat. You don't know what I'm talking about yet, do you? Who'd have thought 4 years ago at this time that this thin little kid, second string B team, would be in just 2 years on the varsity and never played any A-ball, I would think, in junior high. That he'd be a starting point guard then 3 years from then. As a senior, be our quarterback, be our leader in assists and rebounds, which he was a leader last year in those areas. And that Kyle Plumley would be a first-team all-conference player in a conference that anybody around says is just one of the, and maybe especially this year, the great individuals we had in our conference. It blows your mind just to think about it. When we saw Kyle play, and pretty much had to see him play in summer camp, and then as a freshman, we saw something special in him. And kind of hard to explain, but just felt like maybe this kid as a senior could come in some and just do some good things, or be just a great kid to have around. Tells you what I know. Underestimated what a person with his commitment his passion, his self-discipline could achieve. And physical area alone, the amount of time he put in to get himself built up physically to the point where he is today is, that alone would have been remarkable. And an achievement that I think anybody would probably look back on 40 years from now and say, wow, did I really do that? That was something. But then to work on all the basketball skills he worked on, and this is really something this year, because we got something a little unusual this year. Some years this actually happens. Some years we'll have our whole senior class, and not one of them, their favorite sport is basketball. And we love them. I mean, they just contribute so much. But it's not uncommon to have, like Matt Hay, number 1 baseball, number 2 football, maybe number 3 something else even, maybe number 4. But boy, what a contributor. And to have something like this year where our seniors probably, I would know for sure, at least 80% of them, 4 out of 5 of them, maybe 5 out of 5, their favorite sport is basketball. So we've got some commitment to basketball. Not your favorite can be basketball without commitment, obviously. So to get an accolade and for commitment this year is up there a ways. Dribbling alone. And I feel redundant a little bit on this because we've said it to the newspapers and all. That's one of the kind of neat things that I really enjoy about, among other things, about our advancement this year is for people to be able to see Kyle, like the media and all. And all of a sudden they see him about the 3rd time and the 4th time and they say, wow, he does this. That was really something, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really something. Outstanding game for him because he had these great passes and really made these people better and so on. Yeah, it was. Been doing it all year. You got a little interested now because he happened to have a 12 or 16 point game, which he could have had every game, but he just kind of figures out what needs to be done and adjusted the team that way. I love, turnover ratio. His ball handling, let's mention he played sometimes, he just an hour flew around with basketball. I don't think we've ever had anyone who's improved his ball handling to the level he has in high school. We've got some pretty darn good dribblers and ball handlers. And I think most of you felt like I did. You're about as confident in shooting as I was. Our turnover ratio this year, ball in his hands, I don't know. Have John Scott maybe figure that out for you. He's watched a lot more videotape than I have. Maybe it's 80% of the time in his hands. And we had 12 turnovers a game on the average, and our opponents had 17. And that is monumental. That's 5 extra possessions each game. I always look at that as, okay, you're at the semi-state. You get 5 more possessions right at the end of the game than they get. You feel like you can do something. Usually we're over a point per possession, so that's about 5 points a game right there, maybe close to 6. I love how he advances the ball down the floor. I think you do too. He just brings that thing down quickly, and then he'll go from one side to the other side and just kind of look for some opening, and just kick it ahead to a perimeter man. Jeff or Kyle maybe on the sides, and if not, he just uses good judgment, good wisdom, and kind of gets things under control so he can still get into the next best shot. Character traits, I could go on forever. Maybe a couple things I'll mention. His focus, I had him in the classroom last year, and kind of like this right in here, sometimes I'm not kind of into this like I should be. What is it? Gap time or whatever we're supposed to have here. You're supposed to talk 10 minutes and give him a break for 30 and then talk another 2 or something like that. I get caught up. We're talking about Vince Lombardi stuff, and that's our book. Or John Wood stuff and all. And I'm going on, and so we got these 70-minute class periods. Just goes so fast, I forget. And I'm on minute number 67, still talking, forgot the last, 8 gaps we're supposed to have. But I'm into it. you know, and 63 minutes ago I lost the whole class. But I don't care, you know, I talk to myself when I'm by myself, I talk to myself in front of others, so it's okay. And then there's Plumlee back there, and he's still glued to you. You know, maybe he's just, if I step sideways, maybe he'll still be glued up there. But, and I got Benj in class this year, and he does that same thing. He's got that same focus this year. Sheets I had him last year, and he was listening. Trying to act like he wasn't, but he was listening. I know he was. But the focus, it doesn't change. So you're doing that, and after doing that for 6 hours, 6 classes during the day, and now you're supposed to come to practice, you know, and keep that same focus. Classroom's one thing, you get graded for that, but yeah, that amazes me. And you know, Coach Scott does so much preparing us for games, and he's given a lot of credit to these assistants here who definitely deserve it. But I think he traveled and watched 8 regional games before we won the sectional. Okay, and he doesn't even tell me he's going. He doesn't like to talk to me about that kind of stuff, but I want to hear it. You know, I'm not sure we can even win one sectional game. I can talk about the regional. You know, he knows my thinking on that, but I want him going. and videotapes and that sort of thing that he had well beforehand. He drives down to Indianapolis to pick up 5 videotapes for the state finals on Sunday morning. After a few hours sleep the night before, he brings them back, and I say, go watch these, divide these up. I don't want to watch these things. I'm sick of videotapes. But he gets, he prepares, and these guys prepare, which takes you up to that point there. But somebody's got to receive that stuff. Somebody's got to focus on that stuff after these long days in school. We're fortunate to have people like Kyle and some others that do that on the basketball floor as well. I really appreciated Jeff's comment the other night, Thursday night, about his leadership. Just and different guys lead in different ways on this team. And Kyle's much more of a leader than these guys know it, but more of a leader than maybe you'd realize off the floor, and the little things he tries to do to bring things together and all. But kind of like Jeff says when he goes into the huddle and says, "We're not going to lose." That's just kind of like that old E.F. Hutton commercial. When he speaks, we listen. Hates to lose. He's the epitome of our great competitors that we've had at Plymouth. Our greatest, our most fierce, tenacious competitors. We're also our greatest gentlemen. They're also the guys that help the opponent up off the floor. Knock them down again here in a few minutes, but they won't help them up again. But they come at you with everything they got. But they're gentlemen, on the floor, off the floor, dead balls and everything else. And I just love that because it just proves all that other baloney wrong. Manchester coach came to watch Kyle play, I don't know, 15 times or whatever. I thought it was really interesting. I really loved the Manchester coach because he saw Kyle play when his stats were real bad one game. I can't remember what it was, but he just early and he just did things weren't clicking, and he was coming off some injuries and didn't play very well. But the coach saw the same things that we kind of saw when he was younger, and came to 2 or 3 practices. He and the assistants, and I envy that coach because Kyle's going there. He just told me a few days ago, which Bookers weren't real unhappy about either. They were celebrating here. They're just they're going to be front row for sure every game next year. Manchester coach just got a steal with Kyle. Last thing I'll say is, I already mentioned this name, except I'm in a church yesterday with some of these guys. Somebody comes up to me and they mention this word. They say the Luke Zeller word to me. And they said, boy, that was tough. That was a tough one. But I heard his interview afterwards, and he gave the glory to Jesus. And then it was okay. Right there in the middle of church. I almost got an argument with him and Jesus right there in the middle of church. I can't do that. Let me tell you something about Luke. His greatest achievement, I think I'm free to say this. If I'm not free to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. His greatest achievement was the Trester Award. Because he beat out one incredible young man. But let me tell you something. Luke is an all-American basketball player. Known all across the country. McDonald's All-American. Okay. He is number one in his class. Okay, he's a valedictorian. A big part of how they select left. If it came to character and the person, nobody beats out Kyle. Kyle. Anybody got anything on tonight? Take off. Or in the morning, either one. Ray Roth interviewed me before the season a few years ago, and he says, he's talking about Kyle Bench now, and he says, how is Kyle going to work into your program? How do you think he's going to fit? You know, here he is, on the microphone, there's the camera, red lights on. And I said, Ray, he's only going into the 8th grade this year. And Ray was embarrassed. Oh, sorry. Turns everything off, starts it again, you know. That is the kind of target, the kind of pressure Kyle was under coming into high school. Going into 8th grade, I should say, but definitely coming into high school. And that's tough. That's a lot of pressure. Let me jump a little bit here. From 7th grade, and I am going to keep this brief, okay, because I'm only going to mention about 60 of his achievements here. No, a lot less. All conference for 3 years, with all that over him. All area player, that Sunburst All Area, South Bend Tribune area team for 3 years. Had his picture on the front of the Hoosier Basketball magazine. I think many of you know that. So as one of the top players in the state. He's going to be on the North-South All-Star game that is in just 2 weekends from now. Something here, 17th, which is quite an honor. He's on the one of those UPI, possibly AP, all-state team, top 15, the 3rd team. So he's one of the top 15 in the state, voted by them, by some people that know. And it's not too bad a state for basketball, if you haven't noticed. Second on the team in rebounds and assists. First on the team in steals. Oh yeah, he set a scoring record this year. And maybe of even more significance when you think of it this way. Even going into this season, if I'm one of the opponents and I am anywhere near 5'11" to 6'3", and just take any pride in myself at all, I'm hoping the coach lets me guard him. 5 weeks ahead of time, they're thinking about this. You know, most of us, maybe 2 days ahead of time, maybe they'll mention our name in practice or something, and maybe they'll forget my name and number and all, and I'll get a couple openings. We're talking 5 weeks, 5 months ahead of time, last year, and so on. I mean, they're geared up. One guy, maybe, right, maybe 3, 5, and couple on the bench. What a target he was. When we hung up, Mr. Scott, I think we did this, but when we hung up his jersey this year, now this all ties into the number of points he's gotten. We hung up his jersey over here on the left side. That jersey looks pretty good, that number 12 there. The 12 we hung up back there stretched out about 2 sizes. You know why it was stretched out? 2 guys grabbed it at the same time. One guy had been okay, but 2 guys grabbed and pulled in different directions. Almost bought a mannequin. Cut off the arm. Have you done that? And the hand, just kind of glued it on there so that uniform would feel more normal and natural while it's sitting back there with a spring in summer. That's the only way Kyle was playing with somebody on him all the time like that. Also a target of opposing fans. That was always my goal in life before I became coach. Have some fan who really booed me for a reason, because they thought I was halfway decent, ideal. We're in Rochester early in the year, and these 3 kids getting all over his case, just trash talking, all that sort of thing. After the game, they became his most loyal fans. They said, "Man, we're sorry. You're a class act." They came to several games during the year. They were at our sectional, those 3 guys, kind of dressed up goofy. They're at our regional. They're at our semi-state. I just had to go back and ask. They bought tickets. They went to the state finals. Those 3 guys. Kind of neat, I guess, in how I think it says something about Kyle's character, where I don't think they've been followers of Kyle had he not had the right character, if he hadn't handled it the right way. And there were some other fans that he had. I think we'd be surprised, us players would be surprised at the number of fans that came to watch him play. I know it hurts your feelings, but deal with it. I had to. I thought they were coming to watch me coach. Coming to find out, they're coming to watch Ben's play. Good player, as I said, coming into high school, but greatly improved since high school, since his freshman year, since his sophomore year, since his junior year, each year. And you might look at a guy who gets so much attention from opponents and media and that sort of thing, is just born with it, just blessed with it. And maybe some. I'd have to give Claire credit for some of it. Although, Carrie, my daughter's walking into the gym right beside me about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and there's Mr. Bench. He's in the far corner, like 26 feet from the basket, barely just edging past the backboard. He fires one up there, all net. And Carrie said, "Gee, is Mr. Bench a good shooter?" I said, "Yeah, but don't say that very loud. Don't let him know that." I really think Kyle's to the point he is right now. It may be because of some help on the outside from parents and that sort of thing, but it's his work that he's put into it that's gotten him there. What is today? Monday. I'm in here last night. A while doing some stuff. Up till 8 o'clock, I'm hearing the ball bouncing out there on the floor. Bouncing some, mostly going towards that net an awful lot, but he's there even after the season, working out, getting ready for things to come and so on. But the improvement he's made just in his, in developing another aspect of his shooting and scoring and over the last year, just from last year to this year, that was remarkable. You kind of see it with his jump shot, like in the lane, and that type of thing. Probably got the most compliments about Kyle, concerning Kyle, on his poise, composure, and his leadership. And I don't know if you've heard much on that as well, but people are constantly talking to me about how impressed they are
which is a great sign of his character, the maturity, as a person, and the type of person they see on the floor. Saw this in a lot of ways, from bad calls to things going against us, where he just kind of stayed on that even keel this year. Saw this in his talk with the media, and just where he's, I don't know, there's a couple different ways you can kind of do it. You kind of do it matter-of-factly, but it's so sincere, and it's real, where he's just giving credit to other people, and he does it on the floor as well. Wallace C game, first time we played, he gets 28 points. It's what some people thought was a pretty big three-pointer. Me too. Get us into overtime and all. Big game. I thought his play in the second Wallace C game was so much more impressive to me than that first one. Now, I know everybody dreams about hitting that 62-foot, put that far out, three-point shot to kind of carry the team over and so on. Things weren't clicking offensively in that second Wallace C game. Third quarter, I don't know what the score was, we're 3 points down. Might have been something like 30, it's late in the third, 37 to 34 or whatever. Wallace C's ahead by 3 points, we're down. Wallace C has just won something, 7, 8, 9 in a row. They're blowing Northridge's out and close games, and then all of a sudden they're beating Tippecanoe Valley by 11. Close game, they're beating Belmont, number 2 team in the state, by whatever, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Close game with Plymouth. You know what they're thinking. We're going to get that momentum going. We're down 3. Wouldn't take long. We'll be down 5 or 6. Kyle comes down the floor. I can't remember what happened. It was a rebound or long rebound or what. Hits Jeff in the right corner. It's tied up. Next time, very next time, 3 times in a row. Next time he comes down the floor, he penetrates into the lane and gets a 2-pointer. Next time down the floor, kicks it to Jeff on the left wing, a 3-pointer. We're ahead by 2 or 3 at that time. Never trail again in the game. And it was such a key part of the game to where they have to kind of change what they do, and we did not have to as much. And that was so impressive to me. Everything's going well. Okay, everything's not. I guess that's the sign of a champion to me. And no, that was impressive. Well, this kid is also a cadet teacher. I had to find out a few things about him. He saw me today, but this came over the internet. Extraordinary role model. He's built a trusted relationship. He works with the special needs kids. That's a mild word, isn't it? He works with the emotionally charged kids, okay? I mean, they've got these little rooms over there inside, padded. They're a handful. They're a handful such that teachers, they got timeouts. We got timeouts. You're used to timeouts, but not that long of timeouts. A 2-day timeout, so long as kid won't do anything for 2 days. He takes time to talk with them. He made a difference in the lives of these young children. He's been a real blessing to all of us at Jefferson Elementary. And he went over there earlier and worked with 5th graders. And the 5th graders know him. They see the papers. They read the papers. And he's a magnet. You can guess. You can see how things out here. He's just a magnet. They're all drawn to him when he's around those kids. But I was asking Mrs. Burbank this. I asked her about a month ago. I don't know if it be true now, just too much publicity now. I asked her about a month ago. Do these kids even know that Kyle, the special needs kids, that Kyle plays basketball? She says, I doubt it. I doubt that they have any clue. She says, these kids, Kyle can get them to do things I can't even come close to getting it. They won't do anything for me, but they'll do it for him. They know he's hard. They know he cares. Not because he's a basketball star. He's the person he is. They know he loves them and cares about them. I thought, wow, that's far transcends all these. That's a big award that I can give you tonight. How big? Since Joel graduated, but Ryan McKell led us in block shots this year, and shot also like 56% from the field, and I think that says a lot about shot selection. I can remember some games where he had big rebounds in Peru, and John Adams and Goshen games, a pretty big conference game where I felt like some of our players did play real well in that game, at least offensively, and he picked us up with about 8 points, 4 out of 5 from the free throw line, 2 for 2 from the field. CMA games, one I'm always concerned with, is 2 days after the Warsaw game. And I think Ryan got about 13 points in that game, shot 6 for 8 from the field, and 5 or 6 rebounds. A game that stands out, at least an incident that stands out, which I think tells you a lot about Ryan. But no surprise to any of you, is St. Joe playing up there, and then something happens underneath the basket. He's going up for a shot, and he gets blocked by a big kid. And as would happen with, not surprise you, I guess he's in his face, the big kid. He's taunting him and celebrating right in his face, and not an unusual thing to happen these days for immature young men. But it's always interesting to see how people respond to that. Not surprising at all. Ryan just turns, walks over, because we got an out of bounds play now, gets to his spot, figures out the out of bounds play, never even changes expression. Goes to his spot, gets ready for us to score on the next out of bounds play, and take it back down to the other end. And I thought, boy, this shows not only maturity, character, it does a lot of things deep that's good about Ryan. Classy person. So many people have said that, and boy, I sure agree with that. And it's shown in many ways on the basketball floor, like I mentioned here, on the bench. He's as much in the game on the bench as the guys on the floor, mentally. I should say mentally only, I should stop there, verbally. Timeout, I mean, he's saying specific things at halftime and so on, where he may not have been in the game nearly as much as he would have liked to have been. Michael was telling me, sometimes he'd sit by him, like if it's at the end of the game or something, he's constantly strategizing, maybe we should do this, or this could be a possibility here, or this, or this, and just totally in the game. And you cannot tell me that when there's a senior like him on the bench, the guys that are on that floor don't feel that presence of that support and so on. On the bus, some of the other classy things, you may say, not a big deal. I don't think so. This is a big deal. This says a lot. Maybe the first one picking things up on the bus after we get back, or mentioning, let's keep the bus clean now when we get off of it. Almost hesitated saying that, because Dad's back there thinking, okay, what about your room at home, big guy? I got a feeling he's pretty good in most departments, or at least he's such a smart person, he locks that door so Dad can't see it. Practice, you can hear his voice a lot. gets the groups together. He's at the end of practice or any time, you can kind of hear his voice. He'll be the first one to say some things, and they're significant things. He's always teaching, helping others on the sidelines. Opponent's locker room, you'll see him in there right at the end. We kind of like to leave our opponent's locker room cleaner than we even came in. And that's not necessarily 100% goal for everybody on this team. We got a few guys that just take a little pride in that. I think that's big to me. That's special. Speakers, we had like Billy Keller speak to us at a crew game. Saw him again there at State Tourney. Walking through stuff at Carmel. We've had lady parents give meals. You probably tell me this one. But not uncommon to see Ryan, the first one, kind of maybe awkward, uncomfortable situation, thanking people afterwards for doing those kinds of things. So that's those are just those classy, special things. Practice, always asking questions, always wants to know this, that, or the other about the opponent or our strategy. Ask some teachers. Since he ranked so high in his class, I asked some teachers about it. Anything stand out? And they said an awful lot, but one teacher I thought was kind of interesting. He says he brings out the best in teachers. Kind of thought a second, said, yeah, that's true. Sure does for me. You better have it right. You better have things figured out with Ryan. He's processing it, and he's going to remember it as well. And another teacher said that he's just a delight to have in the classroom. Serious-minded, 1,000-watt smile. Yeah, that's him. Ryan did our Veterans Day, just an incredible job on our Veterans Day presentation that we put over the PTV. And so I asked Mr. McKenzie, I said, how many people did that? I heard Brian did that. How many people did it? He said, it's pretty much his project. I said, now, okay, you're the evaluator on this. It looked good to me. My novice eyes looked good to me. He said, it was incredible. He said, it was, to use the word superior. He said it took, but Ryan, it didn't surprise him because he says, Ryan he does it to be done the right way. It has to be done perfect. He'll spend the extra time to do it exceptional. Feel like you saw anything like that on our team this year, where maybe things were done a little more the right way than the influence that he and a lot of others in that area were instrumental in that. And these things are really impressive to me in a world that says that it's okay to be good enough, or it says, wow, you do something good enough, and they say that's exceptional. And he's got a standard up there where exceptional means exceptional. And not only that, but he won't stop until he gets to that point. Not just talking at the talk, but walk on the talk. It's a Lexus commercial, passionate pursuit of perfection. I don't know, Greg, you may be driving a Lexus someday. Even more impressive, Mr. McKenzie said, he will spend the time with the other kids working on their projects. And he said he'll spend the time working with them and helping them out, and doesn't want any credit for it. It was all behind the scenes. In fact, it's almost like he shuns the credit. Doesn't want any part of that. No wonder he's got so much respect from everyone, students around school and all. I would say for Ryan, I'm going to do something a little different. But I'd say for Ryan, he may want to be in the background, but with his passion for perfection and with his know-how and his intense desire to achieve that, he's going to have trouble staying in the background very long. But knowing him, he'll find some ways to do some neat things for people and bless people, even behind the scenes. I want Ryan to stay right where he is, because I'm going to do something a little different. And I want you to give him all a hand while he's sitting right there. have no clue, but we'll figure it out as we go. John Wooden said, I'll paraphrase it, about success: you take the ability you have and utilize it to your fullest. Boy, that would describe Matt Hayden to me. Every spring, every summer since his Matt Hayden. Matt Lee. Yeah, I tell you why I'm saying Matt Hayden, because there's something coming up here that Matt received last year that pretty special thing. Every spring, every summer since his freshman year, he comes to me in the spring and he's trying to figure out what he needs to work on. And just like a few of these other guys, he's going to do it. He's going to spend the time. And he's asking and he's serious. Nobody could have, and some of you players at least know that, maybe you people don't, but it's just real difficult for me to say things that are nice, but they're not true, because it takes so much of the credibility away from it for somebody else. And I couldn't say it to a team, you know, this is the hardest working team we've ever had, if they weren't. And as a whole team, I haven't evaluated all that yet, so I reserve that comment. But for Matt, there's not a player on this team, as hard workers as we had on this team, that could say that anyone was harder working than Matt, off season or during the season. I can remember back his sophomore year and last year as well. I don't know what happened, but somehow it seemed like he was always in practice guard and a perimeter player. Oftentimes, I guess we did have Hague around then, big guys like Grant Lawson and all, so he was probably on the perimeter a little bit more. But I can remember him out there guarding people and knocking the ball away. And he's just the kind of guy you hated having guard you anytime, especially in practice. You know, making you look bad, knocking away, and coaches, you know, trying to press coach or somebody here, so, or just win this contest that you're in. And I can remember a situation where we're in the old gym, and I remember a situation where he does his normal thing. He's out guarding somebody, he kind of knocks it away. But that's not enough for Matt. You know, he knocks it away, he's just full bull. He's going after it, diving on the floor about 8 feet, you know, and the other kids diving as well, and mad because he knocked it away, so they're kind of tangled up, and the other kid just frustrated, shoves Matt. Kind of a thing where, okay, coach could maybe step in right here, probably could have sent him out of practice or whatever. I was kind of interested in how Matt was going to respond to that one. And like I was talking about Ryan, never change the expression. Okay, that's good. That's nice. Part 2, came back, stuck that kid even harder, wasn't intimidated a bit, got into him even harder, never changed the expression, didn't foul, didn't do anything dirty, cheap, anything like that. This guy is special. This is rare. This is different. This is what I love to see. He just kind of a throwback to the old days of Joel's days, and Matt Kramer days, and some of those middle linebackers that we used to have, the Brandon Egglestons, when Michaels used to play and all. And I look down there, and this year's Mr. Scott or Michael Delp down there working with them. They're just knocking people around, and maybe not quite the same, because I don't think we had quite the physical, the physique, I guess, that we had with some of those kids back then. But Matt is just, he's like the old days. He's knocking people all over the place in a very clean, hard-nosed way, helping them up off the floor, back down again, and 30 seconds later, kind of one of those things where I got to look the other way, kind of cringing a little bit. It's getting almost too rough for me to watch. Tenacious, persistent, constant, beginning of practice to the end of practice. Beginning of the year, end of the year. You say, pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good for a guy who's playing 28 minutes a game. How about somebody who's not playing nearly as much as what he practiced and what he dreamed of his entire life? That's incredible. Beyond imagination, my imagination, beyond words, that's for sure. Especially for a guy, such a fierce competitor. I was telling Kyle Plumlee. You just love his demeanor on the floor. And some of you may not understand it because some of you may be into this thing like, I guess, whatever, you see it in tennis and all, and there's this misnomer. Boy, that guy is motivated. That guy is a fiery competitor. Look how he yells and chants and throws his racket and that sort of thing. Well, I had some 2-year-olds that were fiery competitors with that one because they could throw tantrums and stuff. Yeah, there's no correlation between that at all. Your greatest competitors, you guys, just like Matt. His demeanor both on and off the floor, on the bench. I won't repeat it, but it's just exactly like Ryan's on the bench. And then just a real gentleman, whether it's he's on the floor, a bad call, a missed shot, you can't see it in his face. He's just as determined. The jaw is just as set, whether things are going well or they're not. It's the same thing in practice. And he shows the same type of thing off the court, obviously. I don't know. Mrs. Morales, he helps her down here in the attendance office. Mrs. Morales, Matt is so sweet. Well, that's what she said. Okay. I'll go with it. She said it. I trust her judgment on that. Responsible and dependable. I'll go 3 for 3 on those. Okay. It's not going to surprise anybody here. Doesn't sit idle. Looks for things to do. Helps others. And I thought this is really neat. He helps the freshmen when they come in. Now here's a senior. I mean, there's this. You think the caste system's in India. For some of you that have been out of high school for a while. Seniors sometimes won't look at the shadow of the freshmen, all right? But he'll help them. And that's Matt. He would treat a freshman equal to a senior. I don't know when it was, 2 weeks ago, something like that. We've got this senior citizens dance of some sort, right here, in here. We're going to practice that Thursday night. And somehow it worked out, I forget what week it is, or whatever, somehow it worked out where we did not have to practice then because of something else that worked out. So Mr. Skirvin, business load or something, had something to do with that. Mr. Skirvin is kind of in charge of it. So Matt goes up to Mr. Skirvin and says, I can come after all. It wasn't, do I have to go or something like that? I can come after all. He could have easily gotten out of something like that. Then I'm thinking, he helps little kids, freshmen, senior citizens, definitely out of your comfort zone. Okay? Definitely. He's in here that night, blessing those people. If he scored 45 points in the state championship game, I'd been happy. Wouldn't have been nearly as proud as those two comments right there. It helps with the freshmen. He's here with those senior citizens that night. In the classroom, just thought of something else, I guess. I think of senior citizens, I was thinking of myself. And how much he helps me. I'm trying to take some stuff off the bus, and I try to act like it's real heavy. It is for me, by the way. There's Matt. I turn around, Matt takes a charge on me right there. I'll take that for you. And I'm graciously letting these days. But that's him. In the locker room beforehand, before games, getting chairs around. He's just looking to do those little things that get no credit, kind of menial tasks. That's how big a person he is. Classroom is no different than in basketball. I talked about being focused and very attentive. And this is what the teachers are saying now, okay? Eager to do well, totally intent. Strives to get everything just right, very meticulous. sound like somebody else, could be several kids on this team as well. Some of the same things about Ryan. Just everything perfect and straight. And I appreciate that because he'll have the straightest cornrows. If he goes into farming like I think he might, anybody around. Not only that, but his books will be production. He'll figure out a way, and it'll be done right. And that's kind of neat. Eyes are the window of his soul. A little something we have in class. He's a quiet person. I thought one teacher said he's an eye catch, something like that. Where he looks back and you know how when you're talking and all, you know, your grown kids. If you ever catch their eyes, wow, that's a treat. He's looking at her. And he'll be smiling at the right time. When she's saying something that's humorous, when everybody else is kind of sitting there going over their head, you know, there's Matt, he's figuring this thing out. Thinking, smiling, but he's with you. And that's what he's been, that's what he's been on our classroom floor, basketball floor, on and off the floor. I want to be real careful about this last thing that I say, and real sensitive to it, because in no way do I want to compare what we do with what our troops do. But we've got this little terminology we use called the foxhole, and just on a minuscule scale, and it may not mean much to anybody else, but it means something to these players, I think, and definitely to us coaches. It's big time to us coaches. And I mentioned a little something last year, but I'll just real briefly re-explain it, because we had a little vote on this last year. And here in the foxhole, we're life and death, where it's on the line, life's on the line. Who do you want on your right side? Because you got a little vision that way. Your left side, you got a little vision that way. And to your back. Number one person that you want to your back. Not your best friend, not your most the most social person that you love being around. Who do you trust the most? Who do you think has the most dependability, the most focus? You know, lost focus for 3 seconds. Sorry about that. That's all right. Just, you know, did some neurosurgery, put my head back on. We're talking total focus, total dependability, responsibility. Somebody that cares enough, unselfish enough to think about you. Who would die in front of that bullet that's coming? We're getting to some higher levels here yet. We're talking foxhole, aren't we? They voted last year, beginning of the year. Our players, they don't know the outcome of this vote. Matt Hay was high in the vote last year. Matt William was number 1 in the vote last year. Now I'll tell you something. We got some real foxhole people. None of us coaches. That's a great honor. None of us coaches would change that vote this year. And we're talking so many big areas. Mental toughness and persistence, caring, and so on. That's the respect that people have for Matt Williams. Let's give him a great hand. Just one last area to cover, and that will be these two guys that didn't call up yet. Many people have kind of asked, what was it with this group this year? What's the difference? What set them off? And after really evaluating an awful lot and figuring everything out to the finest detail, my answer is still the same. I haven't got a clue. I don't know. But there was on this team, and I really feel like this is the key. And we've been around it for so long that I can't totally define it. But I know when it's not there, and I know when it's there. And everybody on this team, and some of you parents that are close to the situation know there was a closeness, there was a togetherness, there was a unity. And there's just an incredible power in unity. And I could probably give you about 12 quotes on that. And I could look up another 500 quotes on that. And I love those quotes. And those quotes mean zero to me until I see something like this. And this is, I guess that's just kind of a me thing. I sweet little quotes, and I put them up and I love them, but I want to see, I want to grasp it like this group. What created that? What caused us to have that togetherness? Kyle Bench, all the media attention focused on him, unselfishly throws it right back at everybody else, unselfishly does that on the floor with his actions as well. Kyle Plumlee, with all the off-season stuff that he has worked on that nobody even knows about to try to bond and group together, not to mention all the in-season things that he does. A number of times he's talked to me about little ideas that we can do to get this group together. Jeff Sheets with his on the floor thinking 2-3 plays ahead, keeping it, knowing everybody else and where they belong. All part of that togetherness factor. Greg Sheets, Louis Plumlee, last summer. A lot of you around and know, and some of you other parents who've done so many things that way as well, but they kind of had the team an awful lot. Some of the little things you've said to people. You got a 12-man team, 13 with Jake. My favorite is about 10. Abe Lemons once said, I only keep 9 guys on my team. 5 guys are always happy. I always win all the votes 5-4. A little bit of truth to that. You keep 12, I'll guarantee you, 3 guys are not going to play much. 2 especially, and sometimes 4 or 5. You get 1 or 2 people that are just the least bit discontent. And usually you're okay till Christmas. Start getting middle of January, you get a couple people a little bit discontent. It starts to spread. Everybody feels it. Now, what do you call discontent? Win a game. Somebody's sitting in the locker room, kind of like this, head down. Big win. And they got their head down because they didn't play as much as they wanted to. Nothing will take a team down. Now, if it's a player who isn't that greatly respected, might not be as big a factor. Okay, here's my answer to the togetherness and the power of it. You take this old one, the twigs, you take these 12 twigs, in our case 13 twigs, you can break them pretty easy, put them together, you can't. That's the power. And there was a little power or something there. Main reason. This is hard to say. 2 reasons. Number 1, because and it is in no way a discredit to any of these other 3 seniors or anybody else on the team. I probably should mention our underclassmen. You seniors can do all the leading you want to. If you get underclassmen that don't accept it, you're trouble. I don't care how good a leader you might think you are. So there's 2 sides to that. So it's no discredit to anybody else. But I believe this with every ounce that's in me. Matt and Ryan are the 2 guys most responsible for our success this year. Three years they're on varsity. Now, this is saying something. When you look at all the contribution of these other players, 3 years on the varsity, playing time is minimal this year compared to what they wanted. Fiery competitors, perfectionists inside. Never, I don't know, I shouldn't use the word never, at least for me. And I can just believe that nobody knows this much at all, very, very little. In the locker room, all these times in the locker rooms, all the time on the bus rides, all the times in practices where that you couldn't see a rolling of the eye, or you couldn't see the lip downturn, or something like that, when they had given anything in their power to be on that floor a few more minutes, a lot more minutes. There's no question in my mind that Ryan and Matt have one of the most rare qualities, and I certainly don't have it, as you can imagine. If I could coach, don't plan on this, 30 more years, I might get one like that, and I'd be so elated if I could get one. Have two guys on a team. Every kid here knows it too. Every player, and that's the neat thing. The respect that they've gained of these two guys right here, I think maybe helps a little bit. But these two guys, I'll always remember as the whole key to our success from at least the tournament on, or the last few games of the second half of the season on. It's Matt Huyen and Ryan Pickell.
Got a few individual awards we'll do before we're finished here this evening. Kyle Plumley, come on up here, please. As Coach mentioned a moment ago, Kyle led us kind of two unusual categories. You don't find a point guard usually as our leading rebounder, but he was. He also led us in assists. Kyle Plumley, most assists and most rebounds. Best free throw percentage, we called it a tie. Was 80.1% and exactly 80% for Kyle Bench and Jeff Sheets. And needless to say, our mental attitude award winners, our senior post players, Matt Huyen and Ryan Pickell. See, they both have their basketball ties on tonight too. Looks good. And also the Foxhole Award for Matt Huyen, dedication, desire, unselfishness, sacrifice, dependability, and that extra effort. This year, Kyle Bench.
Intelligent kids. Now you guys don't have to try to top this next year. Get these intelligent kids. That's what happens here at the end here, I guess. They get thinking. Down the Hall of Fame, there's Oscar. That's all I need to say to most of you, but it's Oscar Robertson. I mean, he is the ultimate. We're talking and a picture taken with that guy. I didn't. I got something above that. They took a picture of me with these guys right in here. And much as I've admired Oscar my whole life, looked up to him and thought he was the greatest and still do, I wouldn't trade a picture with him. The one I got with these guys right in here. We really appreciate you people coming. Now,